presentation of Fox Sports.
We are Baltimore. We are Ohio.
The celebrating is done. Now it's back to the business at hand, trying to get home field advantage in the division series. The regulars are back to take on rookie Michael Fulmer, who will try to qualify and win the AL Earned Run Average title next on Sports Time Ohio. And the push to the playoffs continues tonight in the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, where it has been raining on and off all day long. The good news is it looks like we're going to get this game started on time. How long we play will all be up to Mother Nature herself. Hi again, everyone. Matt Underwood alongside Rick Manning. Tonight's game is known as a bullpen game. The last time this happened for the Cleveland Indians, it was not scheduled, but it worked out that way. It was 11 days ago when Carlos Carrasco suffered the fracture on his pitching hand, and that happened 2 pitches into the game. Bullpen combined for 10 shutout innings.
Boy, for the second time this year, they did that, and, uncalled upon. They just came out and everybody pitched an inning except Adam Miller, who went 2 innings. They were unbelievable. 3 hits in their 10 innings. They walked 3. They had 10 strikeouts. You really can't count on that every time, but everybody that went out there did their job. It was fun to watch. They ended up winning that game in extra innings, 1-0. And you remember that other game at Toronto where they went 13 scoreless innings. That was unbelievable.
With tonight's game and these next few games before the end of the season, we're going to see a number of pitchers coming out of the Indians' bullpen trying to secure a spot on the postseason roster. And obviously, the guys who are up tonight are going to get the first crack.
They will. And the 4 that's going to be there automatically. It'll be Otero, Shaw, Allen, Miller. They have the 4 spots. And I would think probably 4 other relievers are going to go out of the 7 that we have on the board right here. I would say the top line may be the 4 that may go with this ball club, but you never know. We don't know about Danny Salazar. He's throwing from 120 feet now. Hopefully that he'll be able to rebound and come back. But you never know what's going to happen. They're still 5 days away, and I'm sure they're going to have their meetings, and they'll pick who they want to take.
With the division series in the off days, likely that you only need 3 starters, so it gives Terry Francona and company the option of carrying the extra arm in the bullpen. Well, they're going to get all the work they can handle here tonight. We'll be back with tonight's first pitch coming up in just a bit. Cleveland Indians baseball is brought to you by WB Mason, the official office supplier of the Cleveland Indians. By McDonald's, I'm loving it. And by your local Toyota dealers, visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. time. Temperature will be 60 degrees. The good news is, at least at game time, not much of a breeze, but it has been raining quite a bit, so the field, obviously in the outfield, going to be a little wet. Infield was covered pretty much the entire afternoon, so it should be in tip-top playing shape. And the question for now is, how long does the rain stay away? Let's go downstairs right now to our man, Andre Knott.
Thank you, Matt. Well, we speak of good news. I think the best news that came from last night's game was on Corey Kluber. As we found out late in the game, it looks like it's going to be 7 to 10 days before he can get back on the mound. But when you talk to Tito Francona, this most likely is the best-case scenario when it comes to what's going on with Corey Kluber.
It's a heck of a lot better than it could have been. I mean, I think we were hopeful that he'd be okay, but again, you know, when a guy's out there competing, you know, you don't know how much they're really hurting. But this will give them a chance to hopefully have a bullpen session or two, you know, hopefully maybe to even help them. But no, I think it's certainly not bad news.
Obviously, everyone associated with the ball club was holding their collective breath, hoping that the results from the testing would come back positive, and for the most part they did.
Yeah, you really don't know with the quad what's going to happen, but thank God it's not a hammy, or a groin strain, because that certainly would hurt. So yeah, that's about as good as we could expect.
And so now tonight the Indians will saddle up, as the expression goes, and try to get through this game with as many bullpen pitchers as needed. In the meantime, on the flip side, Michael Fulmer going for Detroit. What a story he has been, the rookie. Very likely will be the American League Rookie of the Year and has a chance to claim the outright AL earned run average title. But he needs enough innings to qualify in order to claim that. And we'll see how that goes here tonight. Let's look at the lineup he will face for Terry Francona and the Indians. It is brought to you by Progressive. Rajai Davis will lead it off, and then it's Jason Kipnis, followed by Francisco Lindor. Carlos Santana, could you tell that guy with the camera to get out of the way? Santana bats cleanup, Jose Ramirez fifth, then it's Lonnie Chisnall, followed by Coco Crisp, who will serve as the DH, Tyler Naquin, and Roberto Perez batting ninth.
And our Northern Ohio Hyundai starting pitcher is going to be Michael Fulmer, who's had a great year. You can see the ERA is under 3 at 2.95. He's 11-7. And, you know, when you look at him, he's thrown more innings probably than the Tigers have wanted this year. You see 155, but he has some minor league innings on there as well. So he's up around the 171 inning mark, where it's probably 37% more than what he did last year. So they've tried to spread it out. He's done a nice job. He's 1-2 against the Indians this year, and the Indians dealt him a 6.75 ERA. So we'll see what they have in store for him tonight, and we will set the defense behind him. For the Tigers, and it looks like this. In the outfield, it's going to be Upton in left, Maben in center, J.D. Martinez is in right, Castellanos gets back and starts at third base, Iglesias is in short, Kinsler at second, Cabrera at first, McCann doing the catching.
And the umpires tonight, it'll be Hunter Wendelstadt, the crew chief, calling the balls and strikes. Jim Reynolds at first, Trip Gibson at second, and Dan Bellino will be down at third. And we are ready to go here tonight. Fulmer into the line, and his first pitch in there for a strike. And 2 quick strikes on Rajai Davis. And that didn't take long. 3 pitches. Fulmer has his first strikeout, 1 away.
Well, he comes back and he started him off fastball, slider, and this is a good slider on the outside edge. It goes straight down, and that's an excellent pitch for him to the right-handed hitters. That's his 130th strikeout of the year.
It will bring up Jason Kipnis. Nick Castellanos back in the lineup for Detroit, in on the grass at third. Though Kipnis rarely bunts for a hit. Now the 0-1. Inside, he missed to even the count. Tigers have to be thrilled to get Castellanos back, even though there's less than a week to go in the regular season, but he came on, pinch hit, had a base hit last night. Came around and scored a run. Missed time with a fractured hand, but could be an important bat for an already potent lineup. 2-1 pitch. In the dirt, 3 balls and a strike.
Fulmer, 23 years old, acquired from the Mets in that Yoenis Cespedes trade back in July 31st of last year. And boy, what a rookie campaign he has had.
Walked him. And the Indians have a 1-out base runner. Keys to the game brought to you by Wayside Furniture, with the regulars back in there, at least most of them. Looking for the offense to show up tonight. They were shut out last night. Postseason bullpen auditions will be on full display for Cleveland. One of the local sports writers here in Detroit said, he wrote this morning, the Tigers can't beat the Cleveland Indians, but they sure can't handle the Columbus Clippers.
That's the lineup they threw out there last night after clinching on Monday.
Francisco Lindor taking a strike. And the 0-1 is off the dish.
With Seattle already winning today, Detroit needs a win to stay ahead of them, a game ahead of Seattle. The two teams that are really fighting hard to get back into the top 2 spots.
Francisco Lindor 0 for his last 25. But going back even further than that, 3 hits in his last 48 at-bats since September the 10th. Takes a strike. He's in the hole, 1-2.
Take a look at this pitch on our Nissan pitch tracker. He will throw some pitches up there. That's belt high. That's probably on the high part of the strike zone.
One on, one out, just underway here in Detroit. And he strikes him out, 2 down.
This is going to be a changeup, and he will throw a lot of those to the left-handers. You can see he turns that ball over, and it's got good movement away. Ended up out of the strike zone, but he was able to get Lindor to chase. And gets the second out, and both coming on strikeouts.
Carlos Santana. Santana has been on a tear here in the final month of the season, where some players may hit the wall and start to slow down. It's as though Santana has caught a second wind, batting .297 with 6 homers and 17 RBIs in the 25 games played this month. And that's by far one of the most productive marks on this club. The only guy really that has been better, and this will be no surprise to anyone who's followed the team all year long, is Jose Ramirez. The 1-1 pitch. And Fulmer gets him to swing and miss.
Well, he's got a pretty good feel for his breaking stuff early. The changeup and the slider. He had that changeup the pitch before. It comes right back with that slider, and it's going straight down tonight. So he's coming out with pretty good intensity in the first inning.
Rain beginning to fall once again here in Detroit. It's almost like a fine mist. The 1-2 to Santana. Fouled right back. Might be one of those nights where they're going to have to deal with some on and off precipitation throughout. And the hope is that it doesn't intensify to the point where they have to pull the tarp, because if they have to pull it, they might not be able to take it off again, because forecast doesn't look very encouraging as the night goes on. He almost threw it away, and he did. It got by Miguel Cabrera, and Kipnis will go all the way to third.
Well, for the second night in a row, the couple of throws to first base has handcuffed Cabrera over there. You remember last night Verlander threw over there. He bounced one to hit him in the knee. This one not even close. I mean, this is way up the line. And Kipnis coming back to the bag, gets in Cabrera's way. That'll be an error on Fulmer. Send him all the way to third base, but there are 2 outs. So,
you know, Rick, you and I have had a lot of conversations about this particular instance with pitchers.
yeah,
A lot of the throws to first base are out of habit, but when you've got a guy who's been camped out there now for the last 12 or so pitches and hasn't even bluffed a move towards second, I just don't see the point with taking a chance.
well, pitchers, they're creatures of habit. We talk about it, and they just have to throw over there for whatever reason.
You know, stepping off just to make sure that guy knows you're aware of him is one thing, but you turn and fire one over there. And granted, if he throws it to Cabrera, nobody cares.
Right.
But when you fire one wide of the mark, just doesn't seem to be a point to it.
Maybe they felt he was going to run with 2 strikes on Santana.
He drives this one deep into the night, all the way to the wall, and hits near the base. That'll score Kipnis. Santana pulls into second with a 2-out RBI double. And the Indians, who have been lethal on the year when they score first, a mark of 62-19, lead it 1-0.
Santana picked on a changeup that stayed, well, not too much up in the zone. He kept his hands back enough and drives it into that gap in right center field, where a lot of times you can get triples, but that'll be the 29th double for Santana, and the Indians back on top and get an early lead.
Great second look, and you could see how Santana, as you said, stayed back and really used his legs as well. So many times when a player's fooled on a changeup, they're out front.
Right, they lose their steam.
He stayed back, and he really used his lower half to drive that ball as well.
Well, he continues to hit, and hit very well in the month of September. That's his 84th RBI to go with it.
Jose Ramirez taking him. That's a called strike. Told you before, Santana has been red hot in September, and really only Ramirez has been better. He's hitting .337 in the month of September.
He has been very, very consistent this year. He's a tough out.
He hit .350 in August.
I know. He's had a great second half, and this is a young player that's playing every day.
Let's go back and look at that swing again from Santana. Watch the lower half on the side swing.
Got the foot down, but yeah, he stayed enough. You see that back foot comes forward a little bit, but he kept his hands back beautifully.
And the 0-1 on its way. A little bit low. Even though Fulmer commits the error, I'll be curious to see. I think that's still got to be an earned run, and that's critical for Fulmer's case.
Yeah, well, you're right.
To winning the ERA title this year potentially.
But with 2 outs, Kipnis would have scored on that ball from first.
So. I think
sure
you could make that
out in that gap.
Yeah.
No question about it.
Jam job to second. Kinsler will throw him out, and the inning is over. But the Indians strike first, and they lead it 1-0. 1-0 lead. Zach McAllister will be on the hill for the Tribe, and let's look at the Tigers lineup under manager Brad Ausmus, brought to you by Spitzer Automotive. More or less the same lineup we saw last night. Big difference is Nick Castellanos is back in there. He's batting in the 7th hole. The big boys, Miguel Cabrera, Victor Martinez, and Justin Upton, who has been on quite a tear here of late.
Well, Zach McAllister, it'll be his second start, but it is a bullpen game. That start came in Toronto after that 19-inning game. They had a bullpen game as well last night with Clevenger, and Mike didn't fare very well. He struggled in his first 2 innings. Hopefully Zach can go out there, settle in early, get a couple of outs, and get back into that dugout. I don't know how many pitches will dictate how many he will throw tonight.
I would think this would be kind of a fun deal if I'm a relief pitcher. Hey, just go out there and throw as long, hard as you can, as long as you can.
That's what Tito wants him to do. Go out there and, if you give me 2 good, solid innings, that's all I can ask.
I would love that, because it's almost like you got a really good chance of exceeding anyone's expectations. They're probably figuring, well, if he can give us an inning, and you got to figure, hey, if I can get a couple innings under my belt, I've done a great job for the team.
The key is throwing strikes and not falling behind this good Tigers lineup. And they did that a lot last night.
Good pitch, bottom of the zone.
I mean, Zach's been around long enough. There's no reason why he should be intimidated to go out there and just throw strikes. If they hit you out, that's one thing. A lot better than walking or falling behind.
Just a bit outside. Kinsler does have a good eye, but he's also a very aggressive hitter. It's interesting contrast. At times he'll go up, but if he likes it, he's going to give it a rip early in the count. Doesn't mean he's always going to get a hit, but he will swing the bat.
Yes, he will. He can be very aggressive. Good pitch.
Boy, oh boy, did he paint the black on the outside corner. Kinsler doesn't like it, but he's out number 1.
Check out this pitch in our Indiana Wesleyan University pitch tracker. Great pitch. A little comeback to it. Outside corner. He's got nothing to complain about there. Outstanding pitch there by McAllister. Out number 1.
Cameron Maben was shut down in the series opener. He went 0 for 5 in game 1, but bounced back nicely yesterday. He doubled in the first, walked in the second, and scored 2 runs. Two and 0. Again, this is a guy, and we talked about this before, this is a guy you don't want to walk, and that's what happened last night at inning number 2. Clevenger walked him, had to pitch to Cabrera. He had a 3-run homer.
Well,
Swing and a miss.
I'm sure a lot of the reason for Maben, when you hit in the number 2 hole, you've got Kinsler on a lot. You've got Cabrera hitting behind you. They have to be aggressive with this guy, and he's done a nice job hitting .322. You can see he's hitting .375 at home this year. So he loves hitting in his home ballpark.
There can't be a better job at baseball.
Well, that lineup, it's nice. There's no pressure on you. Your job is just try and get on base.
McAllister's got to fire into the zone here. He does, and that had some hair on it, as you like to say. Full count.
Well, see if that fastball has some comeback to it. It did on the outside part of the plate to Kinsler. 3-1. He was looking for the fastball, but came up empty.
Challenges him again, and it's fouled out of play. Another fastball, and he popped him up. Right field, Lonnie Chisenhall makes the catch. 2 down.
Let's check the Indians defense for you. Brought to you by Jeep. It'll be Davis in left field. Naquin is in center. Chisenhall over and right. It'll be Ramirez at third. Lindor at short. Kipnis is at second. Santana at first with Perez doing the catching.
Miguel Cabrera takes the ball inside. Fired back to the screen. They dominated him through most of the season. Last night he broke loose in a big way. He drove in 7 of their runs. So, I'm sorry, he drove in 5 of their runs.
Yeah, 7 in the last 2 games.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just this guy. That's how quickly they can do it. They can do it.
Oh, what a nice breaking ball! You could see Cabrera bailing out. Because, frankly, if you watch the scouting reports or watch video, you don't see this from McAllister a lot.
Well, you don't see him throwing inside. I don't know if he wanted that breaking ball in there, but certainly Cabrera wasn't looking for it. You look for that breaking ball starting in the middle of the plate and working its way off the plate.
Back with a heater, and that is tagged. And that is off the wall, at the top of the wall. Barehanded nicely by Naquin. His throw is in time, and they got him.
Beautiful.
How do you like that? He doubles off the top of the wall in deep right center field, and Naquin throws him out at the bag. After 1, it's Cleveland 1, Detroit nothing. In center field, the key was getting it off the wall with the bare hand so he could literally grab it, throw it all in one motion. And it was a perfect strike to second base to retire Cabrera to end that inning.
Well, when you're a guy like Cabrera and he breaks out of the batter's box, he probably thought it was a home run, you know, and he doesn't push it. So that was great for Naquin to get that ball in and thinking he had a chance to throw him out, not giving up on the play, and he was able to do that.
Couldn't have missed going out by more than 4 or 5 feet.
It was off the wall. He played it well off the wall, as you say, the bare hand, and he made a perfect throw.
And on a damp night, it's not like the tarps out there on the warning track. Lonnie Chisenhall will lead off here in the second for the Tribe. And Fulmer misses up high.
We've seen Naquin do this about 3 times in the last week or two. He played it, and it came right to him where he played that wall, and a strong one-hop throw in time to get Cabrera. That was beautiful. He was already pleading his case as the umpire was ringing him up.
As he was sliding, he's like, no, I'm safe.
No lawyers allowed. You're out of here. That was a great throw.
Did you see Miggy right there?
What is he?
He's telling Andre. He's telling Andre, I don't want to hear you running smack down there and talking junk about me down there. We see Andre. Here's a 2-1. And that's hit foul down the first base side.
You mean I'm not hiding well enough for you? I think Miggy wants me to leave.
You know, there isn't a player, Andre, and this goes back to when he was a rookie with Miami, who talks more to the other team's dugout than Miguel Cabrera.
He does. It's constant. Well, the thing is, and I've told you guys this, half of our bench doesn't mind it. Like right now, Lindor's saying, why don't you run to second base and stop looking at where the ball's hit to him. But there are some guys on our bench that don't really like him talking to it over here the whole time.
I agree. I mean, you know, once in a while it's fine, but it's an ongoing conversation with him.
Well, in Cleveland, he was doing it in his at-bat. He was looking over at our bench after pitches were called. I remember the game with Bauer, and then it got a little testy because the game got testy.
Andre, back in 07, the Indians went down to Miami to play the Marlins. And Miguel Cabrera was playing third base. And the dugout is a lot closer to third base in Miami, in the old park,
right?
The old Miami ballpark, than it is here. And he was looking in, he was kind of talking and just looking in, and Trot Nixon,
I could only imagine.
He did not like that at all. And there's a base hit in the right field by Lonnie Chisenhall.
Hey, look at him right now. He's even looking at our bench as this play is happening.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that's part of who he is, but as a young player, at that time, that was kind of a no-no, and Trot Nixon was very old school with regards to that. He basically told him in no uncertain terms, watch the field, don't be looking into our dugouts.
Pretty much what Napoli told him back in Cleveland.
That's what Napoli told him in Cleveland, and they had a talk on our first game here on Monday when Nap got to first base.
I saw it.
It wasn't nice, but I think it was both kind of respect who we are and we'll respect who you are, but watch it.
I was watching that when that happened. You know, some people might want to get away with it. When the game's going on, there's plenty enough time after the game if you want to talk. During the game, forget it. I'm trying to kick your butt.
Right.
Coco trying to bloop one in, but it's going to hang in the air, and Maben runs it down, 1 down.
Well, the thing I think that bothered some of the Indians players when we were back in Cleveland was that, okay, you want to talk the whole time, but you can't turn and get surly when somebody gets hit. You know, you can't keep talking to us and then start talking to us in a different way when you're not happy. You can't have it your way when you talk to us.
Yeah, you know, that tends to happen when you've beat a team as the Tigers have beat the Indians over the years. You know, it's easy to sort of be gregarious and fun-loving when you're winning all the time. Now that the tables are turned, it can be a little different. 1 on 1 out, Tyler Naquin, the batter. On the heels of a great defensive play. Tyler takes up high, ball 1.
Naquin with a tough night last night against Verlander. He was over 3 and 3 strikeouts. He did walk once. And he was in the leadoff spot in last night's game.
Now there's a pitch at the top of the strike zone that's called a strike. Now that's one where it's called a strike, but it's also not one that he wants to swing at anyway.
Well, it's belt high or maybe a little bit above. You're right. He doesn't. And you know what? Don't swing at that pitch until you get to 2 strikes. Make him bring it down. He may throw you that slider down. He may throw you that changeup down. Stay with your strength. And his strength is down in the strike zone.
Chisenhall at first with a 1 out. And again, you've got Fulmer throwing to first with a guy who's not likely to run. Lonnie has 6 steals on the year. Another fastball. Again, not really a pitch Naquin wants to really go after, so good to take there.
Right, and it's called a strike. So, all right, now with 2 strikes, he's going to have to protect. That did not look like a strike right there, but you know what? Now you just sort of, you hope to foul it off to stay alive and hope you get something down. There you go. You know, it's hard for a young hitter, too, when the umpire's calling those pitches that are borderline, you know, and it goes against you. And you're thinking, man, I got to swing at those pitches because he's calling them strikes. But the patience is the thing. If you still take him, you could let that guy know. And Hunter Wennerstad, he's a veteran umpire. He's been around a long time. He's not going to change his zone for anybody. There's the one he got down in the zone.
To left field, long run, up in, can't get there, and it gets into the seats. Also, Arch, as a young player, and I know it's not the same as when you came up as a young player, but is it still difficult, do you think, for a young player to politic or to lobby with an umpire?
Yeah, but you can subtly say your way when you're up there. Are those going to be strikes all night, or I thought they were a little high? You know, you don't have to say anything bad, just negative. Just let me know your strike zone, and I'll be happy to change my swing.
Oh, bedside manner important then.
Absolutely, especially when you're a rookie. But then again, the guy on the mound's a rookie as well. So, you know, who's going to get the favorite? You got both these guys fighting for Rookie of the Year here, the pitcher and the hitter.
Oh, that was borderline.
All right, now I think that was close. He called it earlier in the at-bat, but he didn't call it with 2 strikes. So it might be just a little bit up more than the other one's trying to get him to go fish. He said, no, thank you. Good job. Now he's got a full count. Now, do you start Chisenhall over there?
I don't think so.
Okay. I would.
Base hit, right field. Chisenhall will get to third anyway. And the Indians have runners at the corners with 1 out.
I like the at-bat by Naquin right there. Round 1 to Tyler. He got a pitch down, and he bounces it over the head of Cabrera at first base. Watch, it's the one pitch he's going to get down. And he was able to put a bat on a ball, and it hops over the head, and so they're able to go first and third. And I know what you were saying. You don't start him because you figure swing and a miss, throw him out. But you got to have confidence on him that he's going to put it in play early. Now they still get him to third, first and third, 1 out.
And Roberto Perez will be the batter. Now, Roberto didn't play last night, but boy, did he play in the series opener, banging out 3 hits. He hit a solo homer, and he also drove in a run with a 2-out base hit. He didn't look real good. Watch Cabrera's reaction after the play. He's got the right foot up. He doesn't want to put weight on it.
That's how he was hit on the knee last night with that throw from Verlander, if you remember, on the short hop in the right knee. And he jumped with his left and just stayed on it. He didn't put any pressure on his right knee.
Inside, it just missed.
That's the show. That's the show pitch right there, that fastball. And last night, this is what we're talking about. Short hop. There it is, right knee. Never got any leather to it. And that's one reason why he wasn't able to get up.
Just a bit gimpy.
He can hit.
Roberto takes, and that is in there for a strike, and now he's in the hole 1 and 2. When you look at the success that Roberto Perez had in the series opener, he went to right field for a single. He went to right field for the home run. He went right up the middle for the 2-out RBI hit. When he stays inside the ball, normally when he's at his best.
Still thinking Fulmer's going to look for that strikeout pitch here with that slider away. That's what he started him off with, and then he's been inside a couple of times. That one he wanted to go in a little farther than what he did.
You get your wish. This is the pitch.
It's not a wish. It's just what I'm thinking he's going to get.
But I you know, it's a good pitch. But if he spins that and doesn't really get the bite to it, that's an easy pitch for Roberto to stay behind and drive the other way.
Well, I think he tried to set it up with a couple of pitches inside.
Yeah. Well, now he's back to even at 2-2. Could go right back to it again. He does, but it's way off the plate. And now a full count.
Well, McCann, knowing you've got that guy on third base, he just slides that body over, smothers it, does not allow Naquin to get to second. Catchers do that on a nightly basis and don't get a whole lot of credit for it.
Naquin takes off, and a 3-2 is he went too far.
Yeah.
And what's the call at second base?
He's safe.
Okay.
You know, he did go. He checked his swing. It looked like a ball. Looked like he chased the ball, and the patience left. He wanted to get that guy in. That was not even close, and he went to swinging. So there's a stolen base for Tyler.
That's one of those things you wonder how can you have the patience all the way through an at bat and get to that point, and that ball's really not even close.
It's because you try to get that guy in from third base so bad you think he's going to throw you a strike.
In other words, he's made up his mind before.
Yeah, I'm going to, not that I'm going to swing, but it looks like that ball looked like it was going to bounce. But that's what young hitters have to go through, man. If you remain patient, which he did to get that count to a full count, you have to remain patient in that full count. You just have to do it.
Rajai Davis with a chance now. And he drills one to center, but right there is Maben to make the catch. So a couple of hits, but two stranded. 1-0 Cleveland, middle of the second. He's really showed off his arm, in particular in this series, but all season long.
Last night he gets Victor Martinez with a beautiful one-hop throw. They're not the fast runners, but they try to stretch it. They've got to do it tonight. Another beautiful throw. I mean, the ball off the bat, when it hits that wall, you're thinking double right out of the chute. But those guys, he's been able to do it. He had that one great play off the wall in Cleveland, you know, about a week or 10 days ago. He's, you know, you get a feel for the parks you play in. He's been around them a couple times. You start knowing the bounces off the wall. You get comfortable. Takes a little while, but he's got a strong arm.
You saw that graphic, and I think it would stand to reason that left fielders are going to generally get more assists, or at least more opportunities for assists, than maybe a center fielder will. Victor Martinez rolls one innocently to Jason Kipnis, 1 out. I mean, you think about a center fielder, generally a ball gets hit to the center fielder, his only chance to get an assist is on a play like that where a guy's trying to hustle to a double and maybe throw him out.
Right.
Throwing guys out at the plate for a center fielder is very, very tough.
Yeah, it is. It sure is, because you got to get that throw over the pitcher's mound.
You've got to have a serious cannon.
But you're going to get them left to right, and you could possibly get them first to third, you know, if you charge the ball really well. But a lot of these guys now, a lot of outfielders play so deep that it's a lot tougher to throw them out now.
I mean, you think about Melky Cabrera in Chicago. I think he's leading the league in assists. You know, left fielders.
Abreu is. I mean, not Abreu. Adam Eaton has 18.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
He was in right field most of the year, and they moved him into center. He's got a nice arm.
Yes, he does. But your left fielders, you know,
they'll get a lot of them.
This isn't a knock on left fielders, but usually not the strongest arm in left field.
It's the weakest arm.
So who are they going to challenge? The left fielder, and it gives them more opportunities to throw guys out.
Well, I remember we came in here, I think it was our second time coming to Detroit. Do you remember how shallow Naquin and Chisenhall were?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, to tell
we
you,
noted it.
They were so shallow. And they've made adjustments throughout the course of the year, you know, and they're trying to find that happy median where they just feel comfortable. This is a tough team to play shallow against because they can drive the ball so well.
Up the gut, but it's cut off by Lindor. And he throws and got him. Lindor showing the range. He had to go a long way to cut that ball off and then gather it in, get his feet under him and set so he could make the throw.
Well, he just threw it on the run, and he's able to get him. J.D. Martinez going down the line. It's that internal clock as an infielder that you need to know who's hitting and how fast he's going to run. He hit it a little bit off the end of the bat and enabled Lindor to cover the ground and make a nice play.
Kia in the driver's seat. Justin Upton has out-homered the big boys. Not that he's not one of the big boys, but when you think about this year in particular.
He hit a 3-run bomb last night on a hanging breaking ball.
Well, he's one of those guys that we highlighted in the series opener that got off to a dreadfully slow start and then has been on fire over the last, I'd say, 90 to 100 games.
Well, a lot of times, you know, he signed a big deal to come to Detroit here. You put a lot of pressure on yourself as an athlete. You want to live up to the expectations. Changing teams, changing leagues. And sometimes it takes a while for you to just relax until you finally say, heck with it. I'm just going to be myself. And he has been himself the last couple of months. And that's a dangerous hitter.
Didn't miss by much.
A little off the plate. That one stayed out there, had no comeback to it.
16 homers for Upton since August 20th. So that's just a little more than a month. He's hit 16 homers. Full count. And the payoff pitch. Low and away, he walked him. So twice in the first 2 innings, McAllister has retired the first 2, and the third man has reached. It was Cabrera who singled and then was thrown out trying to turn it into a double. And now Upton with a walk in the second.
Well, Indians baseball is live with the MLB.com @bat app. You can stay connected all season with radio broadcasts, video highlights, stats, news, and more. Download the MLB.com @bat, the #1 app for live baseball on your smartphone and tablet.
Nick Castellanos. And he takes ball 1. In the air to right field, harmlessly for Lonnie Chisenhall. Inning over. 2 complete. Cleveland 1, Detroit nothing. Here in Detroit, Michael Fulmer goes to work in the third, down 1-0. He's the subject of our Levin Furniture player profile. If he goes 6 1/3 innings, he will qualify for the ERA title. Of course, if he gives up a bunch of runs, he'll qualify and maybe still won't win it. But he doesn't have enough innings heading into tonight. You may be wondering, what does that actually mean to win the ERA title? Really not much. It's not like they have a big parade or a big ceremony.
It's nice to know that, I mean, if you ever win it, it's a nice little title to have. Yeah, I won the crown. Now, you worry about winning games, but that tells me that you pitched well enough to get your team, give your team a chance to win.
I mean, Kevin Millwood won the ERA title with the Indians in 05. I don't remember anybody really making much of a big deal about it.
What did he win, 9 games or 10 games that year?
I think he had a losing record. Kipnis yanks one, right field. That'll get down and go to the wall. Man, he's got himself an easy lead-off double here in the third. He scored the only run of this game in the first.
Kip his 39th double of the year. Boy, he tried to throw something down and in. It looked like it was an off-speed pitch. I'm not sure if that was a fastball, but he roped it into the right field corner. That was a slider that really didn't go down. So the leadoff double for Kipnis. He's 1 for 1 now. He's a double away from the 40 mark.
Francisco Lindor struck out his first time up. Some people who follow baseball and maybe lean more heavily toward the metrics of evaluating players would say that wins are in fact not a good way to measure a pitcher. A starting pitcher, for example. So they would say to you that, just because a guy wins 18, 19, 20 games, that's not necessarily a great measure of how good that particular pitcher is. So there are I understand there are different metrics you can use, such as whip, batting average of balls in play. What is it, fielding independent of the pitcher? A lot of different things you can look at to measure how good, how effective a pitcher really can be. But when you look at the Cy Young Award race, there really aren't any particular stats that say, okay, this makes you the Cy Young Award winner. You kind of have to take a look at the entire body of work. Wins certainly get factored into the equation. The ERA gets factored in. Strikeouts, innings pitched.
Sure it does. Yeah. Look, I like wins because, you know what, sometimes you have to be lucky. Your offense has to score you a lot of runs. But to get a win, you're going to have to pitch deep into ball games if you're going to stay. Now it's such a bullpen-driven game.
It's hard to get wins.
Sometimes it's really tough to get a win. So that's why I think it means a lot.
You could leave after 7 with the lead and still end up with a no decision.
Correct. Or, if they pitch 6, they call 6 a quality start when you give up 3 runs. Well, that equates out to what, a 4.75 ERA?
The year Kevin Millwood, and I don't have it in front of me, I'll try to look it up, but the year Kevin Millwood won the ERA title, there were a lot of games where he pitched and gave up 1 or 2 runs and either had a no decision or maybe lost 2-0. Yeah. Or lost 2-1.
The one thing I loved when he pitched and I watched him is he could find out damage control. How many times that year, I believe that year, 14 times he had bases loaded and nobody out and didn't allow to run. So he had damage control. He was very good at limiting runs or maybe give up 1 run in an inning where a team could have had 3, 4, big crooked number.
I've never seen anybody better.
And I mean, his heart rate never, never picked up. He was excellent at it.
He'd sit out there as Lindor draws a walk. Bases would be loaded. It'd be 95 degrees with 99% humidity, and he'd just tip his cap back, wipe his brow with his big forearm, put his cap back on, and just boom, throw strike after strike after strike. Maybe give up a run, but that was about it. Nobody ever had a big inning against him that year, and I think that had a huge influence on that pitching staff, and in particular a lot of those young pitchers like CC Sabathia and Kevin Millwood. They watched him never get rattled.
Yeah, well, Mike Redbird just told me that year, with the bases loaded, opposition was 0 for 15 off Millwood, and he didn't walk anybody. How about that?
Murph just gave me the results. I can't remember them as fast as he read them to him, but I did call it up here. So that year, Millwood lost 2-1. He lost 3-2. He lost 2-1. He lost 1-0. He lost 2-1, 3-2. I mean, that tells you the kind of year he had.
Well, that means he didn't get any run support.
He didn't really.
Pitched well enough to win.
And that was that 05 Indians team. It was so close, but just not quite. They just weren't ripe. They weren't ready to pick yet. Need a little more seasoning. And 2 years later, they were right there.
Right.
With a chance to win the whole thing. So, back to the original conversation, Michael Fulmer, if he wins the ERA title, it's a huge feather in his cap and certainly a great accomplishment. And I think, personally, that an ERA title is something that really should be more celebrated than it is. To me, I think an ERA title is akin to winning a batting title. You pitch that well, I mean, earned run average, that's basically what you're doing, keeping the other guys from scoring, which is the object of the game. Now, certainly, there are factors involved. If you don't have a defense with a lot of range, that can hurt you. But I think all in all, it's a pretty good measurable.
Especially when you do it as a rookie. And this is exactly what Fulmer's doing.
But you think about, Arch, you win a batting title, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
You win a Silver
sure
Slugger
is.
Award, that's a big deal. Pitchers win an ERA title, they're hardly celebrated in the same vein, and I think they probably should be. Should be a bigger deal.
Well, if he should win it, I'm sure the Tigers will make it a big deal.
Right now, the Indians are trying to knock him out of the game early. They've got the bullpen up, does Detroit.
Well, he's having some issues now throwing strikes. He had Lindor down in the count and couldn't put him away. He walked him.
Left-hander Blaine Hardy is up, getting loose. Fulmer already about to make his 60th pitch, and there's nobody out here in the third inning. And he may have gotten a little help from Hunter Wendelstedt on that 2-1 pitch. Santana certainly didn't think it was a strike. But now, the 2-2 on its way. And that's outside, full count. I don't know if if he's having trouble locating his fastball.
He's getting the 2 strikes and he's having a tough time, getting that third pitch. I don't know if he's trying to be a little too fine here or what. But he's letting hitters back into the count. Where he came out of the first inning out of the chute, he was, throwing a lot of strikes.
13th batter, 5th, full count. Now Santana, first time up, he waited back nicely on a changeup and doubled to right center.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to go fastball here or slider.
Slider down in the dirt, and the bases are loaded.
See, that's the dangerous thing against Santana, because he's a guy that'll take his walk and just keep that line moving. So after back-to-back walks, the Indians have him loaded and nobody out. They are in business.
Rick, this is one of the things that Justin Verlander said about the Indians. And obviously that wasn't the lineup he faced last night, and it's a big reason why he looked so dominant, striking out, 12. But he said normally it's a lineup, he said they just don't quit. It's like they just keep coming at you. Oh, man, Ramirez helped him out, pops one sky high, infield fly rule, 2 down. Or actually 1 out. That's the first out of the inning.
Well, you don't see this often. That's a heater. It's a tough one to get on top of for the first pitch. And that's the one thing about Jose. He's been very patient with runners in scoring position, but he made an out this time on the first pitch. So,
yeah, after he's already walked 2 directly in front of you. Back to back to load him up. Well, here's Lonnie Chisenhall with a chance, and he singled into right field his first time up. Fulmer perhaps hanging by a thread here in the third. Inside, ball 1. But the point Verlander was making, that they may not have a superstar, a Miguel Cabrera in their lineup, but he said it just consistently, there's not a lot of.
They don't give away at bats.
Yeah.
They make you work for your outs, that's for sure.
Verlander, though, did his part last night to keep the Tigers in the hunt.
Oh, he pitched a heck of a game.
They started the day 1 game behind Baltimore.
Baltimore getting beat 2-0, by the way, by Toronto. And that's not going to get it done if they catch it.
And they won't get it. It's in the seats, right into the front row, popped onto the field. Seattle throttled Houston earlier today. So the Mariners trying to keep pace and keep themselves alive.
Yeah, Detroit, should they win tonight, they would be tied with Baltimore.
The rain is just coming. It's opened up here. It is really coming down.
Yeah,
folks are headed for cover.
Well, they need to get a hit here.
1-2 pitch. Lonnie pops one up, and this is not going to get it done.
No, I wouldn't think so.
It's going to be caught, or it should be caught, and it is. 2 down. So back-to-back pop-ups with the bases loaded. And now 2 down for Coco Crisp. So if you're Michael Fulmer, the good news is you've retired 2 with the bases loaded without allowing a run. The bad news is the best hitter in the league all season long with runners in scoring position is coming to the plate with 2 down. Coco Crisp, who's hit .397 over the course of the year.
Now one tough out to get now. Indians had an opportunity, a golden opportunity.
Outside ball 1.
Coco, a guy that usually is going to make you get in the strike zone as well.
And he rolls it to Kinsler, and Fulmer gets out of it. The Indians leave him loaded. 1-0, middle of the 3rd. Groundskeeper went to the home plate umpire, Hunter Wendelstadt, who is the crew chief, and said the magic words.
Pull the tarp.
Yep. So we are in a rain delay. And there is no telling how long this may go on here tonight, because you got a couple of things working. One, it's the last meeting of the year between these two clubs. Last series, one more game to go tomorrow afternoon. Forecast doesn't get any better tomorrow. And adding to that, these are meaningful games for the Tigers. The Indians obviously have already clinched their berth in the playoffs, but for the Tigers fighting for a wild card, these games have to be played. So they're going to wait as long as they can to try and get this game in, because the alternative is to come back after the season ends and replay a game on Monday.
Yeah, we'd end up coming right back from Kansas City. But I see they're spiking their, the tarp down, so the winds are coming. And, yeah, what are you going to do? I mean,
I'll tell you what we're going to do.
What are we going to do?
T-Mobile greater coverage of baseball. So this is what the Indians still have to play for. And that's the best record or at least one of the best records to get home field advantage in the first round of the playoffs, but it's not looking good.
No, Red Sox can clinch tonight with a win over the Yankees.
Top record gets the wild card team.
But remember, for Cleveland, if they tie with Boston or Texas because they beat us head-to-head, that's still
you lose.
You're going to lose. You got to beat them both by a game if you want home field advantage.
That's why I said not looking good.
No, it doesn't look good. But I mean, you just never know, because should Boston clinch, maybe they're going to do the same thing. They're going to rest their guys and get things, to settle in.
Look, home field advantage. I think you always, given your choice, you'd always want to have home field advantage.
Right, I agree.
But I go back to the years under Grover and all those great teams that we saw play in Cleveland. They lost game one of almost every playoff series they ever played. And they still came back and won most of them and got deep into the playoffs. So it's not the end-all, be-all, because all you have to do is win a game on the road and you've stolen home field advantage.
Yeah, you're going to have to win on the road anyway to win.
At some point.
You're absolutely right.
The only teams that I can remember in recent history that was was it the '87 Twins?
Yeah,
they lost every road game in that World Series.
And the '91.
The '91 Twins also?
Yes, with Atlanta. There was home. The Cardinals and also Atlanta was home.
They won all the home games and they had more of them.
It happens, but that's when you have turf and you had your domes and there's more of a home field advantage in some of those sites.
I would say nowadays a true home field advantage belongs to Boston because the quirky nature of Fenway and the way their teams are built, they definitely have a bit of a home field advantage.
I would agree there. Yes, you don't want to go into Fenway. It's not it's a fun place to play, but boy, they have the edge.
And I always thought that the Tigers had a home field advantage because of this park and the way it plays. But if you're a good gap-to-gap hitter, and most teams have some good gap-to-gap hitters, you can thrive here just as well as their guys do.
You've got team speed like the Indians. This is a great place to play.
Oh. Well, in the meantime, rain, wind, ugly.
It's ugly. That's a good way to put it. Ugly after such a great summer. Fall is coming. Fall is here.
Tell you what we're going to do. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, we're going to relive some of the most magical moments of the year. The 11 walk-off wins. We've got them all wrapped up together in one nice, tidy little package. So stay tuned. We'll show you some of the most memorable moments from 2016 when we return. New pitcher for the Indians will be Cody Anderson after Zach McAllister started this bullpen game and went 2 innings. So the Cleveland Clinic call to the bullpen for the right-hander. And we'll see if Cody Anderson can log a couple of innings or so.
Well, let's hope so. It'll be the 19th time he has been in a game. He's 2-5. Zach McAllister, nice outing tonight. A couple of innings for him. And when you look at Zach, he had a 1-2-3 first, even though it came from a great throw from center field. But he painted Kinsler there to lead off the game. He got Maben out. He was throwing some nice breaking balls. A nice play by Lindor to retire J.D. Martinez. He did walk one, but got Castellanos, and that was his 2 innings. Unfortunately, the rain came, but did a nice job.
The rain came right after the Indians wasted a great chance to knock Fulmer out of the game. They had the bases loaded and nobody out and did not score. James McCann to lead off, and it's ball 1. 45 minutes officially on the rain delay. And a liner to left. That'll be a base hit. And it goes to the wall. And McCann will go to second with a leadoff double.
Came back, got the fastball on his second pitch and laced it into left field. That was located down and in. McCann liked that. So he drilled it, gets to the wall by the time Davis retrieves it. His 9th double of the year. So back comes Detroit with the leadoff double.
And Jose Iglesias to the plate. Iglesias, the Tigers shortstop. Indians looking for a bunt. Both Ramirez at third, Santana at first pitching in. He's not showing bunt, and it's ball 1. Quincy, California native Cody Anderson. Bottom of the zone, evens the count. Cody pitched himself onto the radar a year ago, got a call up, did a great job. This year had his sights on securing a spot in the rotation for the entire season. But that just did not materialize. Such is the transition for a minor league player to the majors. It's one thing to get there, it's another thing to stay. The constant adjustments. Rip, fair. And just like that, the Tigers have tied the game. A double for Iglesias. 2 batters after the rain delay, back-to-back doubles. And it's a 1-1 game here in the 3rd.
And Iglesias ends up getting a changeup. And that was middle of the plate, and he pulls it. It looked like it got chalk right on the chalk line. So the 8 and 9 hitters come up and go back-to-back doubles. They tie the ball game up here at 1.
Ball got stuck in the puddle.
Well, I don't know if this rain is done yet. We've got a lot more around. But they're able to tie it up, so a big difference with the Indians on the top half of this inning getting bases loaded, nobody out. They couldn't score. Tigers come right back and a pair of hits, and they tie the game.
Ian Kinsler launches one deep left, and it is gone. So Cody Anderson faces 3 batters and gives up 3 runs. Just like that, the Tigers have turned the tables.
Boy, coming on 7 pitches. And this is going to be look like a fastball to me right there. Kinsler, an excellent fastball hitter. He's never met one he didn't like, and he just throws that one into the seats. So 3 extra base hits on 7 pitches with Anderson on the mound.
That guy was straight butterfingers out there. He had a perfect position. He's got a towel draped around his neck. He has all the makings of catching that home run ball, and dropped it in the bullpen. Cameron Maben flied to right in the first. All right, here he is. He's right there.
Oh, he had to reach. He'll get it back. Somebody will give it to him.
Should have let the girl with the Indians shirt try to catch it. 1-1 pitch. Two and two. Maben. And then Miguel Cabrera with Victor Martinez to follow. Out of play to the right. Milwaukee leading Texas 4-3 in the third. Tell you what, the Brewers have given the Rangers a pretty good battle. Strikes him out, 1 away. Injury report brought to you by the attorneys at Elk and Elk. Toronto Blue Jays, their faint wild card hopes taking a big hit. Joaquin Benoit. I wouldn't say he's a key guy, but an important guy in their bullpen.
Absolutely. He's done a wonderful job since coming over from Seattle. He hurt that strained leg
Both
muscle.
those guys hurt in that bench clearing fracas.
Right. They were running in from the bullpen. It ended up getting hurt. He was like a different person when he got over to Toronto.
Miguel Cabrera pops one, and that probably gets out of play. It will. So right now, Toronto came in to tonight with the lead in the wild card race. I mean, it's not locked up, but they're going to lock up at least a wild card berth here.
Oh, I would think so, yeah.
They're going to play either Baltimore, Detroit, or Seattle.
Toronto with the 87 wins going into tonight's game.
But they finish with the Yankees, right? Toronto?
Yeah. No. Toronto goes to Boston. Baltimore goes to New York.
Yeah, I guess we shouldn't say it's a lock just yet. Though Toronto leads Baltimore 2-0 right now in the bottom of the 6th.
Well, that's a big game. I think if Boston can beat New York and clinch, then they can go ahead and try and set their rotation.
Down on strikes is Miguel Cabrera. Back-to-back Ks for Cody Anderson. Boy, isn't that something? He gives up 3 runs to the first 2 hitters, and then, or first 3 hitters, and then goes back-to-back strikeouts to the next 2.
Yeah, went with that changeup down and away and had Cabrera out in front on that one. Yeah, double dinger. And then it's back-to-back strikeouts.
And it's 3-1 Detroit as Victor Martinez steps in. Low and away, ball 1. Victor came in batting .292 for the year. 27 homers, 22 doubles. 86 driven in. And the way Martinez runs, not much better, if at all, than Miguel Cabrera. Those 22 doubles, he's earned every one of those.
I bet half of them would be triples if you had a guy that could run.
Well, he's probably had, I'll bet he's had 10 to maybe 12 singles that probably could have been doubles on better legs.
Oh gosh, no question.
You know?
Yeah. That's the one thing about the Tigers. They do not have team speed. They just slug you to death, man. You come out there and they hit. They have, you know, Kinsler can run a little bit. Maven has some speed, but for the most part, they're base to base. You know,
Pop them up, foul, and out of play.
if you do your job and keep them in the park, you know, and you don't allow the big home run ball, they have a hard time manufacturing a run.
Right. Which is, again, why it's been so impressive what the Indians have done for most of the year against Detroit. Because they haven't given up the home run. They have just pitched so well against this lineup. They've avoided big innings. They've stifled the big hitters in the middle. Now, the last two games, a completely different story, because once you've clinched, you know, the edge is off. And let's face it, right now the Indians pitching is in a little bit of disarray. Popped up. Santana really hustling in and makes the catch. That will end the inning. But the Tigers come out swinging after the rain delay. They score 3 and lead it 3-1. Stay tuned later in the game for Miller Time, brought to you by Miller Lite. Leading off will be Tyler Naquin, then Roberto Perez and Rajai Davis. Indians down a couple of runs. Now the 0-1 offering, and it's way up high. Ground ball single into right field. twice tonight, Arch.
Yeah.
Naquin has been patient to wait for that pitch that's down that he can get to and handle, and it's paid off twice.
Yeah, he's able to turn on the baseball and find the hole. It was the 3-2, if you remember last time. That ball's down. Tyler's going to find a way to get the barrel of the bat on the ball when it's down there. He does. He's 2 for 2 tonight.
Tigers have double barrel action in the bullpen. Roberto Perez struck out his first time up. Right now, the Indians just looking to put a little pressure on Fulmer. They had him on the ropes in the third, but they let him get away. Tries to bunt, but it's well foul. Let's go down to Andre.
You know, with Michael Fulmer, when you watch him that last inning before the rain, he was able to get out of a bases loaded, no out situation. And when you talk to people with the Tigers, they say the one trait that they love about him is how cool and calm his demeanor on the mound is, that he pitches unlike a rookie. Now, when he was asked about this, he says he gets it from his high school coach and his parents. He said his high school coach always taught him to take time and treat the game the right way. Osmus and the staff over there loves that he does not pitch like a rookie pitcher, and we saw that the last inning.
Thanks, Andre. I mean, this kid's been obviously a great addition, and you hope that if you trade a talent like a Yoenis Cespedes, you get something of great value in return in terms of a prospect, and they may have hit the jackpot on Fulmer.
You're right. It's just a start for this young man. You know, as we talked about earlier, his projected innings, you know, in most clubs, when you're bringing along a young player, and he's only 23 years old, you like to up him maybe 20% as far as innings go. 25, I think, would be tops. And I think his shutdown point was about 160. But when you look at it, he's over 171 innings right now. So that would be about 37 point whatever percent more than what he did last year.
Well, and for a guy who's had injury problems earlier in his career, like a bad knee issue, bone spurs in his elbow just 2 years ago. I mean, he was on his way to being a relief pitcher in that Mets organization because of the bountiful number of arms they have. As Roberto Perez will be thrown out, one away, Naquin moves into scoring position. But, you know, as we always say, sometimes a trade, a change of scenery is you know, necessary, as hard as it can be for a young player to get traded, and it may have been the best thing for Michael Fulmer.
Well, it doesn't seem to have bothered him at all.
Rajai Davis rockets it into left center field. Naquin got a bad jump. He's still going to try to score.
Yeah.
Upton, not a great arm. He won't even throw towards home. And the Indians score a run to take back some of the momentum. And it's a 3-2 ball game as Rajai gets RBI number 48.
Well, it was off the end of the bat for Rajai, and Naquin had to make sure it gets over the head of Iglesias. And it does. And with the outfield being so wet, I mean, it poured here. And I'm sure the outfield grass, it's still very soggy, but Naquin able to kick it in gear and score.
I didn't realize, Arch, initially for Naquin, that's a little bit of a harder read because Iglesias, he could have potentially made that play.
That was a good read.
He's got to make sure he can't just take off.
Absolutely. It was a good read, and that's going to do it for Fulmer tonight.
No ERA title, it looks like, for Michael Fulmer. He needed 6 1/3 to qualify. He goes 3 1/3 here tonight. So he's out, having given up 2. Indians down a run, and we'll be right back.
very limited. The Indians encourage fans to purchase 2017 season tickets, giving fans priority access to potential American League Championship Series and World Series tickets. Go to Indians.com.
Rain falling, and it's getting heavier by the minute as Jason Kipnis stands in for Cleveland. Walked and scored in the first. He doubled the lead off the third, but they stranded him at third base. Right now, Rajay Davis is at first with one out. The Indians down a run.
And this isn't very good traction weather for Rajay.
Kipnis shoots one deep and foul.
Tough to run in this weather. You'd have to be a mutter. You know, like at the racetrack, and I don't know if that's going to happen. Hardy coming on for the 21st time this year. He's pitched 24 innings, walked 10, struck out 19.
I will spot you the fact that Blaine Hardy went to Lewis and Clark State College, but for all the money in my pocket, where is Lewis and Clark State College?
Pennsylvania?
No. Nice guess, though. Andre said New York. That's incorrect as well. Both of you will not get Final Jeopardy tonight. Lewiston, Idaho. But believe it or not, Blaine Hardy is not the most famous baseball player to be produced by that school. It has also sent Steve Reed to the majors, who formerly pitched with the Indians.
I remember Reed, man.
Bo Mills spent time at Lewis and Clark State College, formerly in the minor league system, and the son of Brad Mills. Keith Folk, probably the most well-known, the terrific closer who pitched for Tito on the first World Championship team.
2004 they won
that he had, yeah.
You are a barrel full of information. Come on, Andre, you got to brush up on your colleges. You went to college, big boy.
Or so he says. We might need some transcripts.
As my friend said, I just went to the parties.
I want to see that degree, my friend.
Arch, you need to stay away from that.
I was looking for your help.
Oh, we were trying to figure out your ERA numbers from earlier this game.
The 0-1 swung on and missed by Lindor, who struck out in the first, walked in the third. He's got an opportunity here, but he just can't seem to shake out of his offensive malaise that has lingered now for the better part of 2 solid weeks. Shoots it foul the other way.
Well, it seems like he's swinging at a lot of, really just reaching for a lot of pitches, not staying back, putting good swings on the baseball or taking them. And it almost looks like a lot of times he can't reach half of the things he's swinging at.
Swung and got into that one pretty well. Deep left center, not deep enough. Upton makes the catch, and the runners hold 2 down. Better swing that time, and I wonder if that'll at least give him a little better feeling, even though it's an out. Sometimes you want results.
Well, you see the mistake made by Hardy. They wanted a fastball inside. McCann slides deep to the inside part of the plate, and he left that ball out over the plate and made an easy swing for Lindor there.
Downstairs. Blaine Hardy was originally drafted by the Royals back 8 years ago in a 22nd round. 5 years after they drafted him, they released him during spring training. And that's got to be one of the worst feelings for a baseball player, to get released in spring training, because you're thinking, man, everybody else's rosters are set, or they're getting in the process.
Yeah.
Tough time to find a job.
It is a very tough time. Yes, it is, until things filter down and settle in.
But fortunately for him, The Tigers were looking for some insurance, some extra arms to help their club, and they signed him basically as a guy to send to the minor leagues. And so he's been up and down during his time with Detroit, but he's been able to do multiple things. Pitch out of the bullpen, make an emergency start if needed. The 1-1 tops the foul ball. Santana with a smash, and it gets by Iglesias. That'll tie the game. Rajai Davis comes home to score. Kipnis goes into third base.
All right.
So Carlos Santana stays smoking hot in the month of September. He's 2 for 2 tonight with 2 runs batted in.
No, he stayed back again on a ball, and he smoked this ball because Iglesias thought he was going to get it. But Santana hit it so hard he shot it by him. A little breaking ball up and out over the plate. Kept his hands back, gets under the glove, and ties the game.
And the batter will be Jose Ramirez. That also officially closes the book on Michael Fulmer, who gives up 3 runs in 3 1/3 innings. And the pitch to Jose Ramirez in for a strike. For Fulmer tonight, too many crooked numbers in his line score. 3 1/3, 3 runs, 3 walks, 3 strikeouts, 6 hits allowed in his 75 pitches. Straighten up Ramirez as the Indians continue to do what they have done all season long, which is grind out innings, make the pitcher work for it. Not always a thing of beauty, but once again they get the big 2-out RBI hit. And while that's not something you necessarily want to have to make your living on,
no,
you appreciate it when it's there. You hate to have to always rely on it because it's tough to make. As I said, it's tough to count on it consistently.
2-out hits, 2 strike hits. Yeah, yes, it is, man. That's the toughest hit to get in baseball.
Backing up at third, Castellanos, long throw, close play, and he's called out at first. Terry Francona says, hold the fort. We may want to challenge this. It was close. It appeared from the naked eye that they got him by a whisker, but sometimes
you never
get fooled. Let's take another look before Terry decides. He says, no, we will not challenge. And now we see why. He was clearly out. The inning is over, but the Indians have come back to tie at 3-3, middle of the 4th. And when the big three all appear in the same game, the Indians are 9-0 since Andrew Miller came aboard.
Nice. That is very nice. Well, you know, we're a ways away from that right now. The way the weather is, I don't know, but Jeff Manship is on the pitch for the Indians now in relief of Anderson, who went in and gave up 3 hits and 3 runs. But the Indians were able to come back and tie. You get around in that 6th inning, and it may be a different story if we're in a close game or they have the lead.
Swing and a miss by J.D. Martinez. Grounded out his first time up.
See, Freddie Freeman extended his hitting streak to 30 games with Atlanta. That Boston-New York game 0-0 going to the 8th.
Wow, how about that, huh?
Yeah.
Those two, probably rare to see a scoreless game between those two.
Yeah, Buchholz is pitching for the Red Sox.
Even more unlikely. He hasn't pitched all that well.
I know, and Brian Mitchell started for the Yankees, and he went 7. Yeah, I know. Who's Brian Mitchell? I know.
Is he a kick returner?
Well, he pitched a heck of a game tonight.
White Sox are dealing with the same thing we are. They're in a rain delay at home tonight against Tampa. Swing and a miss. J.D. Martinez down swinging, 1 away.
This will be our Circle K strikeout. Manship throwing the slider. J.D. Martinez swinging. And coming up empty. Good pitch. Straight down. And gets him to extend.
Pirates are pummeling the Cubs tonight, 7-1. That's of little consequence, seeing as how the Cubs have already won 101 games this year. And if you want to know how important that has been on the north side of Chicago, well, consider that Theo Epstein, the general manager, has reportedly been given a contract extension that, according to John Heyman of MLB TV and knuckleball.com, it's going to pay him a little less than $50 million over 5 years.
Wow.
Wow. I mean, that's, maybe I'm out of touch, but that's staggering kind of money for a general manager.
That's huge.
The 1-2 popped out of play.
I got to get my birthday wishes in before we get more rain. Jack Hennessy is turning 90 from Youngstown. Richard Axel is 91 from Westlake, along with Irene, his wife, turning 90. Well, happy birthday to you both. And Donald Schoitzel is 87. Happy birthday to you all.
The 1-2 pitch to Justin Upton is a little low. How about this? Alex and Tracy Riga in Solon are celebrating their birthdays tonight, their husband and wife.
Great. Well, congratulations. Happy birthday.
At least you can never forget your wife's birthday in that circumstance.
That's true.
Back-to-back strikeouts for Jeff Manship, and there are 2 down here in the 4th.
Manship, really nice slider tonight. That was a dandy right there. That went late and straight down. So 2 up, 2 down for Manship.
Nick Castellanos flied to right his only time up. Swung on and missed. Way outside, and the count is 2-1. Castellanos missing a lot of time this year, but certainly an important player overall in the scheme of things for Detroit. So
he was probably having as good as an offensive year against the Indians as any Tiger was having. 390 against the Tribe this year, 16 for 41. In a year where they've been able to dominate the big three, or they did in the first 15 games.
Three-two pitch. And then he walked it. So that's the third time in 4 innings the Indians have had a chance for a 1-2-3 inning. But instead, that guy has found a way to get aboard. Twice by a walk, once by hit. It'll bring up James McCann, who doubled and scored in the third. And a strike call to the outside corner. And a strike call, 2 quick ones. Popped him up. Shallow center. Out goes Kipnis into the back pedal and makes the catch. So Jeff Manship works a scoreless 4th, strikes out a pair. 3-3 ball game as we head to the 5th. Levin Furniture. For the best deals on furniture and mattresses, shop Levin's. Three ball game, 5th inning. Indians had a 1-0 lead. Tigers came back with a 3-spot in the 3rd to take the lead. The Indians came right back with 2 to tie it. Lonnie Chisenhall will lead it off for the Tribe. Popped him straight up behind the plate and over the screen, out of play. Lonnie Chisenhall fouls one back out of play. And he's staying alive here. Lonnie singled in the second, fouled out his last time up, and that came in a key spot when the Indians had the bases loaded. Upstairs, he misses 2-2. Boston has gone ahead of the Yankees 2-0 in the 8th in New York.
Yeah, they got those runs off the bullpen in New York.
Checked his swing, and that fouled off the mask.
Yeah, that was a weird looking check right there. Is that what happened? It went off McCann's mask.
Take another look.
He just wanted to stop. You could see it was a late swing. It sure did. Direct hit.
And another foul back. Three-hour game here in the 5th. The Indians and Tigers. This is game 3 of a 4-game series. Got a day game tomorrow to wrap it up. Missed inside.
Listen to all the umpires in the seats. It's a fastball inside. It is in off the plate, but the fans didn't think so.
And the 3-2. That's inside again. Ball 4, the leadoff man aboard for Cleveland for the 2nd inning in a row. Actually, the 4th inning in a row. The only inning they haven't had their leadoff man aboard was in the 1st, and that's when they scored first, when Carlos Santana doubled into the gap, making 1-0. But the Tribe wasn't done there. After they were down 3-1, Rajai Davis singled home a run. And then Santana once again with a 2-out RBI single to tie the game. That's our in-game recap brought to you by your local Toyota dealers. Coco Crisp looks at a strike. He's 0 for 2 on the night. Rain continuing to fall.
Yeah, it's been like a, what is that, a light drizzle?
Yeah.
Ever since we've been back.
Yep. Not ideal by any means, especially with
the way the forecast is. They got to try and get this game in.
Yeah,
you got to play through conditions like this sometimes, and it's, you never know when it's going to come down hard again. It's around the area.
Game time temperature 60, currently 58 degrees. But at least it's not one of those windy nights that would make it really miserable.
Yes, it would. Actually, there's no wind whatsoever.
No. Which probably indicates that whatever we have falling is going to be here for a while.
Yeah, it's staying in the area.
The 1-2, and Coco pops this one up. Miguel Cabrera will not get to it.
There you go.
There's the 1-2 now to Coco, and a big curve missed inside. Coco had the big hit in the series opener, which the Indians clinched the division, a 2-run homer that gave him the early lead. He's down on strikes here with 1 out now in the 5th. With Tyler Naquin coming to the plate, let's go downstairs to Andre Knott and revisit a conversation we've had a number of times this year, and that is the Rookie of the Year voting and where Tyler Naquin figures into the conversation.
Well, he hasn't been as hot as he was in the middle of the season, but for Terry Francona, he just appreciates that Tyler's been able to battle his way through the season and that he's in the conversation. He said at the beginning of spring training, if you would have told him that he would have 14 home runs and we would be talking at this point in the year about him possibly being a Rookie of the Year candidate, he would have never believed you. He thinks Fulmer probably is the guy that will win it, but he's very appreciative and proud of what Tyler Naquin has done this season.
Absolutely. He's had a really very good first season. And I think Tito's used him well, where, he's picked and choose spots to get him. He's had some time off. And go back to the start of the year, there was out of the first 11 games, I think there was 7 left-handers. So a lot of guys got left out.
And Andre, we mentioned earlier that it's been a number of years since the Indians had a pure rookie make the club out of spring training, somebody that had never spent a day in the big leagues.
Yeah, and at times we saw it, but then you think about it, there was a run there through June. He kind of carried the offense for a couple days, for a couple weeks, and he's learned. And I know that Michael Brantley has played a big role for him when he's been around him. He was even helping him out 2 nights ago. I know the guys have really taken him in. I know that Kip told me the other day they called Knapp the big cat. Kip is the middle cat, and they call Naquin the little cat. He's a little kitten, as they call him.
Well, I'll tell you what, they have accepted him very well, and I'm sure he's very appreciative.
Right to Cabrera, who is going to start an inning-ending double play. Hit it hard, but chopped it right into the glove of Cabrera, who was holding Chisenhall at first base. Just slicing and dicing his way through that Tigers lineup.
That slider's like trying to hit a frisbee. That thing is, I'll tell you, boy, and he does nothing but pound the strike zone. The numbers that he puts up, just staggering. When you think about Miller, the strikeouts to walks, he has 9 walks, 119 strikeouts.
He's averaging 15 strikeouts per 9 innings.
Yeah, it's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Well, it's Joe Colon out now for the Indians. Manship, a nice inning of relief. A couple of strikeouts. He did walk one, but zeros after that. The rain's coming down. We saw the groundskeeper go out and meet with the home plate umpire, Hunter Wendelstadt, in between innings.
There's a liner to right. And Chisholm lost it in the lights. And the Tigers' leadoff man is aboard. We'll see how it's ruled. I would imagine that's an error, but I'm not sure he ever saw it.
You saw him battling the whole way. You could tell he didn't have a good beat on it, and it stayed down enough. And right at the last minute, he hung with it as long as you could. And it hit him in the glove. But there you go. He doesn't see it. It hit him right in the the palm of the hand. And it goes down. They will give him a hit. So there's the leadoff man aboard.
You know, we talk about how an outfielder can lose the ball in the sun and how that's a fleeting feeling that you don't like.
Yeah.
It's worse when you lose one in the lights because you know it's not falling. It's coming at you at a high rate of speed.
Yeah. You either run it into the lights. You can't put a glove up to block it because you don't see it originally. You're waiting for it to come out of the lights.
And the way the lights are constructed here, they're straight up and down, parallel to the flagpole. So if it gets in that bank, it might stay in there a little longer maybe than normal. I don't know.
Well, it did for Lonnie that time, that's for sure.
Kinsler is swinging a miss. It was ruled a single. So Iglesias aboard here in the 5th. Upstairs.
Well, Kinsler did the damage in his last at-bat, a 2-run home run. Off of Cody Anderson, first pitch fastball to his liking, down and in for number 27.
Now the 2-2. Lindor to second. There's one on the first, and Santana couldn't dig it out.
Well, they had him. It's just that the ball bounced from Kipnis over there to Santana, and he couldn't hold on, so they only get the one out. That's a double play that probably should have been turned. I know the conditions, though, very wet. You can't tell if that ball is going to slip. Lindor gets it to him. Kip into the dirt. It was a one-hop, and Santana couldn't hold on to it, so Kinsler will be safe.
And a strike is called.
You know, the one little thing that you look at that, hopefully Colon could get another ground ball and get a double play, because if you could have had that double play, you get this out and you don't have to face the guy on deck.
Cameron Maben fly to right on the first, struck out in the third. And a base hit in the left field. So the Tigers have 2 on with 1 out. And Miguel Cabrera coming to the plate. I want to go back and revisit what we were talking about with Andrew Miller, because the whip thing is just extraordinary. You know, his whip, what is it, .53?
Yeah, when you talk about hits and walks per innings pitched.
Walks and hits per innings pitched. His whip is 0.56. 0.56 since he's come to Cleveland. So that, I know that only covers 23 games. But that is utterly dominant. Now, to give you an idea, just some perspective on what does that mean, right? The best whip in any single season in the history of baseball, according to baseballreference.com, is Pedro Martinez, who had a .73 whip.
It's unbelievable as a starter.
And there's a fly ball to fairly deep right. Lonnie's not going to get it. No one will. Another 3-run homer for Cabrera. He burns Joe Colon, and the Red Sox take a 6-3 lead.
Well, they let this guy go off. The young kid's coming out of the bullpen. Cabrera's done a lot of damage to this bullpen for the Indians now. Well, and as I said last night, they try to pitch him in, but they can't get it there. And the great hitter that he is, if you make a mistake, he's going to hurt you. And that ball was down the middle. It was down, and he just shoots it the other way. And he's got such great power. It makes it look so easy. His second 3-run home run in as many nights. And it is now 6-3 Detroit.
And up comes Victor Martinez, 0 for 2. Lifted in the air to left. Rajay calls for it. And there are 2 away. Now Rajay's out there talking to Tyler Naquin. I wonder if he had a little trouble finding that ball with both the rainfall and the lights as well. It might have got hung up in one of those bank of lights as well, because he didn't look like he had a good beat on it. And the way he's reacting right now, I think that was a lot tougher than, you know, a normal fly ball. Looked like a routine fly ball, anything but.
Well, and he played in this ballpark. He's played in it, so he should have an idea of what's going to happen.
Watch him again. He kind of had that, oh, I don't know. Oh, now I got it. But he immediately is talking to Tyler Naquin, which told me that at one point he didn't see that ball. And again, I don't know with the amount of rain that's falling, if that makes it any easier or harder to find it.
It's not easy when you're looking up in the rain, and it's been coming down all night long, and the traction out there is terrible. Not an easy night.
It was a 3-3 game, but Miguel Cabrera changing all that off Joe Colon here in the 5th.
That gives Cabrera 10 RBIs in this 3-game series now. Or coming into it, he had just 3.
That ball smacked deep left center. And that short hops the fence and hops up into the bushes for a ground rule double. And so the 4th hit of the inning for Detroit off Joe Colon.
A changeup. Again, if you look at the replay, it's down the middle. And these hitters, boy, they wear you out. You make mistakes.
And now Justin Upton, who's hit a lot of mistakes a long way over the last month, steps in. Low fastball for strike 1. Upton walked in the 2nd, struck out in the 4th. But over the last 5 weeks, he has done a lot of damage. Since August 20th, he's hit 16 home runs, and he's driven in 39. That's over 34 games played. Boston has gone to the ninth, leading the Yankees 3-0. Toronto holding on to a 2-1 lead in the ninth against Baltimore. Sky high pop up. Lindor backpedaling, waving his arms, makes the catch. Miguel Cabrera, for the second night in a row, sends one deep for a home run, and the Tigers lead it 6-3.